Hi, Victor.
Good morning.
Hey, morning. How are you?
I'm good. I guess you are not in Portugal. I can see you have sun and it's raining so hard here today.
Oh, well, yes, I'm in Marseille.
Ah, nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very sunny. Half of the, 3/4 of the days are sunny.
Nice. Well, I mean, here it's also in Portugal. I think Portugal has the best weather. And since
Mm-hmm.
the garden, I'm happy when it rains. That's the great thing about having a garden. Whether it's sunny or it's
Yeah,
you're happy. But
yes, that, mm-hmm. Yes, it's a blessing to have.
just get some tea. Uh,
Sorry?
I'm just getting some tea.
Ah, yes, sure.
So yeah, tell me about your work. What shall we talk about today?
Yes, well, we talked already once. I don't know if you remember about bringing the gathering to Mexico.
Right.
I am I am motivated to do that. And also, well, I want to explore with you an option to do like a symbiosis because I'm working currently in developing a e-commerce platform, a marketplace
Mm-hmm.
for selling sustainable solutions for construction. And we were thinking to create an event in Mexico because the team is Mexican, so we will start in Mexico and then expand in Latin America. And since
Mm-hmm.
we were thinking of doing this event for promoting the uh, technological solutions for climate change, sustainability, and that stuff, I thought like it could be a good synergy between the Gathering of Tribes and this because we could even produce the gathering in Mexico using some of these solutions like composting or using dry toilets or the solar panels, biofilters for water, and all of this stuff. Um, and then we will have like the joint forces of the two organizations working towards the same project.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. So uh, the way I envision it, the way the conversations I'm having with different projects is that
Mhm.
the gathering brings the gathering has the concept and is there to support. So you
Mhm.
can think of it as a franchise model or something like that. I
Mhm.
think, I mean, as long as you are interested, and I think it makes sense for you anyways, but as long as you're interested in making this an open event and inviting many different organizations, right? So we just need to balance that your company is one of the organizations there, and it doesn't feel overly centralized on your solution, but it sounds great. Do you have an
Mhm.
idea of the location? Do you have thoughts about, do you have contact with landowners?
I have an idea of the region. It would be in the southeast of Mexico, in the Yucatán Peninsula. Not exactly sure where, but I have a network there. I was living in an island on that side, and I know some people from different networks, and these people know some people, of course. And I think this region is good first because I know people, and then also because there's a huge problem on land use change for real estate. A lot of people is going to wanting to go live in these paradisiac places, but the real estate developers are just depredating the jungle and the natural landscape. So I thought it's a good way to bring some awareness on this, um, to gather the regenerative engaged people, and also to show these solutions that we are proposing for sustainable construction. So One idea would be in the city of Mérida, because that's like the principal city in that region, aside from Cancun. But Cancun, I, I don't know. Well, that could be also an option, but Mérida seems good to me. And also, what's his name? Alexander from Gayanet. He proposed me a contact in Bacalar, which is another beautiful paradisaic place, way south, almost close to the frontier with Belize. So that can be. I still need to contact this person. And another idea could be in this island that I live, that is Cozumel. That's the name. But I'm not sure how good idea would be to make it in an island, because of course it's more difficult to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the access. Yeah, I mean, it can have pluses and minuses depending on how good or easy the access is. And also, I guess I think it also depends very much on what the human ecosystem is on the island, right? Because I know some places you need to deal with safety, you need to deal with cartels and things like this. And if it turns out that the government of the island is super friendly, you have a friendly mayor, and the police will be there supporting and all of this, then it's like amazing, right? If they don't care or whatever, an island is smaller, so everything becomes more intense. If you have good support, then it can be really great. If you don't have support or whatever, then I think it's even worse than on the continent. And
Yep.
when
security issues is also one of my main concerns, actually.
Yeah, that's the key thing I mean, I think it's about communication, right? It's not like it's a party where there's lots of people and lots of drugs, which of course is the interest of the people whose business that is. But still, it's a big gathering of people, so you have to handle this in a way where there isn't problems. That's why it's really important to have somebody who's on the ground who has experience with this.
Yeah, I agree. So, what is your vision for this international expansion? How much to keep the core elements? How much adaptation to the local space are you thinking about?
So I'm trying, the vision is to really find a way to transmit and encode the core of the gathering, not as a stiff framework or a list of commandment, but as a DNA, as patterns, so that in each location they can be expressed in a way that it makes sense in that context. And then my thinking is, and it's a new experiment, so we will see how it evolves. But my thinking is that rather than trying to prescribe how it should be, I mean, we have the pattern of how we organized it in Portugal. I think it worked well, but I also want to invite experimentation with the focus being on feeding the learning into the bigger network. Right? So if you want to experiment, if you want to do things differently, great, but communicate and then tell us what you learned from that, so that the whole network can learn.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yes, actually, it would give a much broader understanding of the nuances of doing this type of festivals in different cultures.
exactly. I mean, the gathering in Pakistan is going to be quite different, and there's people working in Pakistan is going to be quite different than the one in Portugal, which will be quite different from the one in Mexico. The concerns are different. What's important, the groups. But let me run you through just quickly. And I'm recording this call. If it turns out good, then we can share it. If not, it's okay. So this is the page which the core, right? Of the gathering. So we have a shared why, right? We believe that new forms of coming together are important given the state of the world, but also given the state of technology, right? I mean, we have online, certain things work really well online. For me, for example, repeating talks or doing talks in person is mostly not valuable. Okay, one or two of my life heroes I'd love to see speak in person, but everything else is good enough on YouTube. However, for building trust, for building relationships in person with the right format, you can go much further, much faster. So our vision is this vision of building more ecosystems of collaboration, or just more collaboration between like-minded people, people working on regeneration, building a better future, because we really see that we need more collaboration, we need more mutual support, people knowing what others are doing and connecting better. As I have this conversation, I've had hundreds of conversations, to me, it's clear that the way this new paradigm will win, and the only way it can win, is by showing and being better at collaboration than the legacy systems. Right? And this way, we will be more effective at creating jobs, taking care of the environment, and so on and so forth. But for that, we have to become better at collaboration. So the gathering is part of that. Part of that, there's an attempt to help and contribute to that through a physical festival. So we have this DNA in 6 parts, and my idea is that the invitation is that every gathering expresses each part of this DNA in some way. Right? We have this format from 2 years now in Portugal, but you can iterate it, but think about how each of these elements is included in it, right? So a key one is co-creation. And the gathering invites different organizations to come and represent represent themselves. Looking at it from the context of mainstream events, like a trade show, right? You create space and invite different organizations to come represent, showcase their stuff. But I really see, I guess it's part of the action and co-creation, because we're regenerative and the goal is to connect. For doing things together and to build this ecosystem, it's not just about coming and advertising, this is our product, buy our product. I mean, of course, you can do that, but if you only do that, it will be a pretty boring event. What's more interesting is come and bring your questions. We're trying to grow our business. How do we get customers? How do we build our team? We're having these challenges in our team. How can we build a more powerful team? And then the gathering becomes a think tank, right? So I tell people that the gathering's a 500 or however many people think tank of people that are purpose and value aligned, that want you to succeed. So don't tell them what you know, ask them about what you don't know, and that will be a bigger benefit for your organization than, just selling.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, makes a lot of sense, actually.
And I think this is also this, this for me, as I think about it, right? One of my big inspirations in life and in thinking is how is the forest? The forest makes wind, it makes weather. The Amazon affects weather at continental and at global scale, right? But there isn't any central tree telling everybody, you do this, you do that, everybody does their own thing. And yet the sum is greens in practice in our work as humans.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my dream of how do we create this way of working. And for sure, this is because in the ecosystem, people interact, the different elements interact and are in constant communication, dialogue, the trees talk to each other. It's not just like, here's my stuff, buy it. It's, I'm afraid of this. Oh, watch out for that, right? So I think creating this higher bandwidth and interaction at many more between organizations is a key part of building this ecosystem of collaboration. And that's why if you just tell me your product, buy your product, I can say yes or no, right? But if you tell me, oh, I'm struggling with this, how would I do this? I'm looking for these kinds of partners. I need to hire this kind of person, right? Then there's many, many more ways. And even if I don't buy the product, I can find some way to interact with you and with you. If not today, then tomorrow. And then it becomes this much richer web interconnection between the movement than if everybody's just trying to do their own thing by themselves. So continuing on this, the coming together in nature. Have you been to many music festivals or other camping and other festivals in nature yourself?
Yes. Raves, you mean? Well, I've been in raves.
Sorry?
I have been in raves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like not super regenerative ones, but yeah, still with workshops and some even have spaces. Some even have spaces for kids as well.
Yeah, but I mean, so this is what I mean. So you've experienced this being with a group of people for a number of days together in a location, right? And probably you've observed how it just builds relationships because you see the same people, you're together in the same space. It just naturally creates connection. Also, I find nature, when you have this co-creative and open and you really want people to connect and be together, nature is much more it's much better together. Nature is much better for that than a building or the city, because you can go for a walk together, you meet an interesting person, you can sit under a tree anywhere, right? The space is much more flexible and malleable to be used and experienced in different ways. Plus, unlike a conference or a trade show, in the evening everybody goes off to their own hotel room or goes somewhere else, for the time that you are together, you're together in this one space. And also, everybody who's in that space is part of the experience. If you're in a city or whatever, you walk out, there is other people, different energies, different mindset. Whilst if you're in nature, in this space together for this number of days, you just see these people, so you can really create a much deeper culture, much more trust than you do at an event that's in a big city or even a small city.
Yeah.
Plus, there is the whole effect of, if we're talking about regeneration, we are talking about nature. So having nature as one of the participants in the event is really important.
Nature is the host.
And exactly, as the host and present in every moment. Action, so the really connecting for action and finding ways. It's not just about talking, it's not just about it's not just about talking inspiration, but it's very much about finding ways to connect and do things together. Then there is weaving, the gathering, really, and it can be done in different ways, and this will be different places, but the goal really is to create an event that connects across different movements, across different idea spaces. because not everybody uses the term regeneration, even though they are building new systems. There's people reinventing learning, there's circular economy, sustainability, ESG. There's so many different systems change movements. And I think connecting them and connecting across them is the dream and the vision of the gathering.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the most the biggest impacts it's had in me and in many people, like I guess in everyone. The weaving all these connections, all these getting into new universes, even if it's similar, but it has different concepts and different languages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we all need to learn to be open and really learn and see, and this is kind of not here. I don't know how to write it up, but for me, I really dream of this spirit of openness and looking at others to learn and to find areas where we can connect and support each other rather than searching for difference. Which doesn't mean like, if somebody is completely extreme, but if somebody is trying to do well, but some of the things they have ideas or things which is not something that is your core belief. Still there is things that you can do together, right? They might have spiritual beliefs which are not yours, but you're both trying to restore the forest. Focus on restoring and working to restore the forest together, and respect the differences. Respect and joy, and find curiosity and joy in the differences rather than being defensive or searching for ways that we disconnect rather than ways that we connect. So that's part of the weaving. Celebration, we can't be doing, it's got to be this balance, and it's because it's in nature and it's like a festival. Maybe there was a bit too much celebration in Portugal, but you need to weave both together, the action and the celebration.
Yeah, otherwise it could not be a festival.
Well, I mean, it's meant to be a gathering, which is a festival and a conference and a trade show and some things which we don't even know about. And then belonging. So I really see there is many transformational festivals, and I see and I imagine the gathering as being transformational, not for individuals, but for organizations. So coming as a company, as a community, as a team, and presenting yourself and creating a camp and showing up who you are, it helps really people feel a sense of belonging to that group and connect deeper, because here we are and I'm part of this camp. And it also invites an inquiry, right? Maybe we're a team, we work together, but we go to the gathering and okay, we're not just working all day. So how do we show up, right? How do we celebrate together? How do we present ourselves? And that deepens and strengthens belonging in the community, in the organization, in the team, as well as seeing how our organization belongs to a bigger movement. So that's the idea in terms of these are the elements and the invitation to express these elements. We have the format from Portugal. We'll be creating, and I see the Gathering Global, it has the brand, it supports some in the communications, but primarily it's there for creating a sharing of ideas, best practice, and mutual support between people organizing gatherings in different locations.
Right. Okay, I see. And so the logistics and the organization of the festival itself, the coordination would be independent to each country that is doing it.
Each local team does that. I think people need to we will need to figure out the details, but for sure, the global gathering can help. I mean, we have the branding templates, We can help a bit with the communications and with the technology for creating online engagement, etc., etc.
Mhm. Okay. And what time are you considering for these events? Are the idea is to make them this year? That's what I understood last time we
So
talked.
I was looking at 2026, but now I'm
Mhm.
talking to people in Czechia and Pakistan and Morocco who'd like to do it this year.
Mhm.
So I'm here to support, or we're here to support. I think
Mhm.
it's a big experiment, and because each person doing the gathering locally, they understands their realities, their ability to deliver, their market, their needs. Uh, yeah,
Mhm. All right. Yes. Yes. I guess it depends on also how the team is getting
exactly.
together.
So, for
Yeah.
example, in Czechia, the person that I'm talking to, uh, they run events, they own their land. So for them, it's very easy and natural to just go.
Mm. Okay. Yes. It's just what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, yeah, depending on the logistics, everything, need to think
Mhm.
about ability to sell tickets and so on and so forth.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. There's one thing I would like to 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 complement the event, and it's in line with other. I'm also getting into event organization, so this is perfect as one of my first projects like this. But I would like to see in regenerative events like concrete actions, like planting trees on site, like during the festival we plant trees or
Yeah, I
things
mean,
like that.
I think everybody loves this. And the reason that we didn't do it in Portugal is that
Hmm.
September is not the right time to plant.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
just it doesn't make any sense. November,
Hmm.
I started planting November, December is when you plant. The ground is hard, the trees won't survive. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work. But
Yeah, it needs to be a solid project. It's not just we will plant just because we want it. Uh,
yeah.
actually, yeah, actually,
Although
one of the concepts I'm fostering is the regeneration of the place itself. Because normally when we leave the place, it's worse than it was before. So I would like to see the opposite. I would like to arrive to a more or less degraded place and work on it. And when we leave, it's more beautiful than before.
I think lots of people are excited about that, just need to be aware that it's a whole separate project which requires coordination, and it really needs to be. That's where the location matters a lot, right? Because if you have a project and they can clearly say, here's the need, we can provide the materials. Sorry, my next meeting is here.
All
uh,
right. Okay.
it's just his note taker. Ha ha ha. So I think the answer to that is definitely. Many people would love to participate in that. Just need to be aware that it's got to be, whether it's a building project or a planting project, it's got
Mm-hmm.
to be done such that it makes sense.
Yeah, of course, of course.
We need to
Yes,
think.
I'm a geologist, so I have a special attention on that, on making that kind of things
Yeah.
right.
And that's where working with the location, working with the location, because also I have a small, but I mean, 7,500 square meters, very big for two people, land here. And planting trees is the easy part. Taking care of them afterwards, watering them through the dry season, and so on and so forth. That's actually the really hard part.
Yep.
So that's where I think a lot depends on the location and on the project, but there's always people who are really eager, whether it's a small building project or a planting project. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Well, before you have just to close up, what next steps do you think we should take to move with this?
I think I will send you a link. Let's have an hour and a half workshop to roadmap what
Mm-hmm.
we need to work on
Mm-hmm. All right.
and the steps and the resources and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I will organize and share the template financial plans, etc.
Okay.
And I think that's the best thing. Next week or the week after, let's do a deep dive workshop and
Sure.
lay out the roadmap. And then, yeah, I think probably we'll need to, yeah, just figure out and make it clear of what are the resources in terms of people and other things you need to line up.
Mm-hmm.
Think in terms of the timelines. And what were you thinking in terms of the timing? This year, next season makes sense.
Maybe by November.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we still gotta think a bit about that, but yeah, I think towards the last quarter of the year.
Yeah, since it's outdoors and outside, need to think of the climate and the season. In Portugal or in Europe, the reason that I like the fall is that it's harvest season. And
Mm-hmm.
harvest season in Europe, it's got this energy of it's the end of summer, it's the harvest, so we celebrate. But winter is
Mm-hmm.
coming, so it's time to get serious. Back to school, have to prepare,
Mm-hmm.
get back to work kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that
Mm-hmm.
for the gathering, but that's different in every climate and in every season. But it's also something to think about of in the middle of the summer where it's really hot, it's kind of like I don't really want to be sitting around and doing lots of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Spring can be good, but just something to think and keep in mind. And there is also other things like I don't know, mosquitoes, rain, this, that.
Yeah.
So since it's nature, we need to think about nature and align with her and her seasons in our planning.
Yeah, 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 so true. And maybe even choose some special dates like a winter equinox or something.
Yeah, it's winter solstice.
That's solstice, yeah. Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
spring and fall equinox, winter, summer solstice. Uh,
Yeah.
Winter solstice can be very interesting, very powerful, though for me, also because it's Europe, winter solstice time is more
Cold.
interest, family,
Introspective. Mm-hmm.
uh,
True.
going
Yeah.
inwards. And for me personally, winter solstice is small group.
Mm-hmm.
For
Okay.
my
Yeah, it's
close friends,
very,
my close
very
family,
close to Christmas.
for
Close to
exactly.
Christmas.
And
Yeah.
Christmas is just, continuation of winter solstice. So it's thousands years old. For me, yeah, spring, fall, even summer is much more going out and connecting with the bigger network. But
Mm-hmm.
it can be also since you are in the Yucatan and then there is the Maya culture and things like this, it can also be interesting to research and yeah, align with some of the festivals that they had, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it can also become a beautiful interweaving of the story,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with the local
Yeah,
place.
giving voice to ancient cultures, to indigenous people.
Yeah, and also because their cultures were well aligned with the local seasons,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So when they had, and I'm sure they had a harvest festival, they had those kinds of every agricultural, they knew when the right time in the climate for that kind of festival was. So it can be a interesting learning and an interesting part of the story too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Part of the story. I will think about it. We'll do some research and see which dates can be the best.
Yep.
considering this climate and festivities. Okay. Well, I don't know, your next appointment is not here yet, but well, I will leave so you can talk
Yeah,
with
but
them.
I think this is good. If it's okay with you, I would love to post this to invite others to share. And yeah, next
Yeah,
time we have a workshop
sure.
and we go concrete.
All right. Super.
Wonderful.
We keep in contact by Telegram. Is it okay?
Telegram
Sounds
is
good.
great. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Victor. It was super interesting to see the vision and see how we
Yeah,
can move forward and make it happen.
I'm super excited that you're working on this in Mexico, and yeah, for me,
Mhm.
really the joy is how to seeing how this DNA will be expressed in different locations and also in places where there are indigenous cultures, right? This is also a very interesting thing of how to interweave and invite them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think I don't know the realities in Mexico and so on and so forth, but it can be an opportunity to really create an event where we come together much more as equals, because at least those indigenous that are still living close to the natural environment, they are it's much more their home than ours. So
Yeah.
rather than bringing them to the big city, us going to the jungle where they are can be a really interesting different experience.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, I agree.